All right. He'll run up for sure. Perfect timing. They say not to work with animals or children. They say in show business.
Yeah.
I say let them do
animal, so
We're doubling down. Good stuff. I love it. All right, everyone. We've got a few online already, which is really great. Carper Punters sent a comment of wow. So if that's not something to get excited about, I don't know what is. But yeah, hey, gang, and welcome to Baseline Drunks Live. Hope your Sunday night is going well. My name is still Hendo. It doesn't change. And tonight I'm joined, or rejoined, I should say, by a man who is a favourite amongst the hobby community, one of the most naturally engaging and entertaining people I've met. So there you go. That's a nice little plug. And all around good guy, the mighty Rain Blaker himself, Blake Riley. How are you, mate? You got your hands full.
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
He's just gotten home. How are you?
Yeah, going well. Going well.
There we go.
He's up and about. He's certainly not camera shy. We're going to show some of his, some of Bentley's Instagram prowess later on in the show, so that's going to be fun.
Yeah. Oh, geez, I've just knocked the phone over and everything. Oh, this is
look out. This is good.
Right on.
This is what this is what live shows are all about. Good stuff, mate. We got Cody in the chat. G'day, Cody. G'day, Nico.
Hello, everyone. So good to pull the chat up and watch it.
You can see it and you don't have to worry about replying to everyone, which is good.
Yeah, that's it. I can see them all.
So yeah, another Sunday night in the books for us. Well, for most people, it's lockdown central. So the standard sort of greeting usually is like, oh, so how are you? What have you been doing? And most people sort of just say, well, not much, man. But I understand Bentley's just been for a walk, so he's full of beans.
Yeah, full of beans. Apparently he was playing with like some sort of puppy, a little whippet puppy who probably would have stood well taller than him.
Yeah, not the size of the dog in the fight, as they say.
Yeah, that's it.
No, good. We've got a few bits and pieces to get through tonight. It should be pretty fun. We've got a bunch of questions for Blake. A few have come through from the mighty Graham as well. We've got a new merchandise partner to talk about, so that's pretty exciting with some charity funds being raised. So pretty excited about all that. We just want to get through a little bit about just things that have been happening in sports, things that have been happening in the hobby, AFL Finals, Carlton Football Club. There's two things you don't normally hear in the same sentence. Just a few bits and pieces we'll run through. So, Bentley's going to be probably the star of the show, which is fine. He's got a good look about him. He's a cracker. If I brought my dog on here, he would just tear the place apart. He would tear the place apart. So that's all good. But yeah, so what have you been up to? You've obviously, we see you most nights. If you're anything like me, we see you most nights on Jerry Live. But what does a Sunday entail for you at the moment, considering it's lockdown?
Honestly, I went into work today, but usually it's just watching sport and doing all that sort of thing, all the fun stuff we get to do. I'm in between hobbies at the moment, which is a fun time. Like I've gone from, I think last time I was cooking heaps. I'm off that now.
Yeah.
And so, we're probably about a week or two away from the next big obsession, which,
You'd be like me in terms of having, like, once you latch onto something, that's it. You latch on and just do it way too much. I did it with bonsai trees, and then they're not all dead, which is good, but a lot of them are.
Yes. Yeah, I'm the same. I'll get obsessed with something, go hard at it for maybe a month, and then live in a little space from there of nothingness, blissful nothingness. And then, from there, I'll find something and be like, yes, this is what I want to dedicate my entire life to.
every waking minute is figuring out how to do more of that one thing, and then it comes and goes. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. You're on the Lego for a while there, I think, weren't you?
Yes.
Smashing out some Lego.
Yes. I still have it sitting. And then the blowout happened at the worst time. I spent the $1,300 on the big Millennium Falcon, and I haven't looked at a piece of Lego since I built the first box of that. So
How many boxes?
Hopefully it ended up being like 13 bags, but each of those bags had a mini bag and like 4 mini bags inside it. I was like, listen, this is too much for me. And that was last year.
Yeah, right. So you've got through one bag out or one box out of so you're probably about 5% of the Millennium Falcon?
Yeah, 5. It was the base of it, so it's a fair amount. I feel like the rest of it is just going to be real aesthetic, but yeah, I just can't even look at it. My Lego desk is gone for Bentley's bed.
Well, that's right. Well, when they say when kids come along, your whole life changes. So the first casualty was Lego.
Yeah, that's it.
That's cool. And I was going to ask you, it's not all about the hobby tonight. There's a bit about it, but I mean, you want to touch on I want to touch on a few other bits and pieces as well. But from a Cherry perspective, how are you seeing the hobby now, compared to say 12 months ago? I mean, obviously there's been a fairly big boom. And I don't know, are we sort of settling down a bit, or are we still going strong? The brakes and everything. My only barometer is the brakes still keep selling out. Some a little bit slower than others that I've noticed, but nothing hectic. But how do you see it?
Yeah, it's still pretty wild, and I think that a lot of people say if 75% of the demand dropped off today, we still wouldn't have enough product, sort of thing. So, you can tell that a few people have come in and out who obviously were in it for an investment sort of thing. A lot of them moved on to NFTs very quickly. But I think now a lot of the people who are actually there to kind of collect things for their hobby are still here. People who got into it and love the cards, still here, still going through. And so, yeah, obviously I interact with the orders every day sort of thing. So it's okay, they're not ordering anymore. And you look into it, it's oh yeah, they're on to, the next thing sort of thing, but which is cool. Everyone's going to do it, but yeah, I'm excited. I think that there's a lot of room for cool things to happen. I think things are going to change in the next couple of years, and I think depending on how Cade Cunningham plays out, people are saying he could be the next one-in-a-generation talent. Which will bring people in again. Simmons brought people in. Next year was a bit quiet, and then Luca and Zion. This year LaMelo obviously is the top one, but I wouldn't call him a generational talent. And now it's if Cade is, it's strong. It's very strong. It's been a while since there was an actual bad draft class.
Yeah, and people talk about it all the time in terms of the pundits that the ones that are paid to talk about all these sorts of or analyze all these different draft classes and everything. And I remember even from when I was a kid, there was you could kind of get a feeling once every 10 years or so there'd be some pretty significant players. Even going back to the 80s, the 90s, early 2000s, etc. There was always pretty pretty influential. They're players that, what's the best way of putting it? The players that when you look back and see when they're drafted, they're sort of in clusters of 1 or 2 years where they, 15 years down the track, you look back and you just go, wow, look at these guys all came from this class or these two classes. So, yeah, I don't know much about Cunningham. I'm forever horrendous at following college sports. I only find out about them usually, unless they're Aussie, I find out about them on draft night. And of course with cards, it sort of accelerates that because you've got all the people are chasing. So it'd be nice to see Detroit be, not the cheapest team in the breaks anymore. Mixes it up a bit.
Well, yeah. they've been building for a while, and they had a few good draft picks, and it just shows a bit of luck. Like it suddenly looks like an amazing future for the Pistons. Like
It'd be fun. As an old head, like
yeah,
I remember the Pistons being good in a couple of different goes, and it's sort of like even
yeah,
as a kid, if I would play like fantasy drafts and stuff, even just on my own on the Xbox or whatever, it's like you'd always put the Pistons up near the top because you
yeah,
wanted them something about them. You wanted them to be good.
yeah, yeah. And then they drafted Luke. Like they went like Henry Ellenson, Luke Kennard. And it's just like, oh, what he's doing. Like, and then yeah, rough for a couple of years, but then last year's draft, with Hayes and all those guys, brilliant choices, good work, Pistons.
So
Didn't draft a guy that looked like a guy I went to school with. Like
it's right. There's like a lack of trust. Can this guy actually dominate or not?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty sure like Luke Kennard played Yu-Gi-Oh at my library against Henry Ellenson. Like, you know what I mean?
I think that I've never played. I've never actually played any games with cards. Like when everyone talks about, Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or any of these, like I actually would really like to sit. When we're not locked down, obviously, but I'd actually like to sit as a fan, I guess, or a fanboy, and just watch people play and just see how it actually works.
Oh,
it'd be cool.
Like I thought I knew how to play back in the day, and now you watch it now, and the card lengths look like look like a Sun Tzu novel, because you sit there and it's like this card activates if this happens, then this happens, and then somebody's got a card. It's like, oh, okay, that's a bit beyond me. I summon Blue Eyes White Dragons,
I used to play. I've actually played a little bit lately, just being locked down as well. But I used to play years ago, like a fair bit of World of Warcraft, and it was amazing to me that I would run around that land. I'd run around the land and kill things and level up and get new armor, and it was fun for me. And I was really happy and enjoyed like how I went about it. And then I started playing with people that really played it, and like they are just cussing you out over TeamSpeak, and they're going, "Hey Hunter, you dickhead, why didn't you cast this spell and do this?" And I'm like,
cast, like Eye of the Hurricane.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I don't even have a button for it. I honestly don't know what you're talking about. And people would just get so lit up. They would get so upset because they're like, how do you not know this? And I'm like, okay.
Well, that's it. And I went back to Classic when they did like the big new thing where it's like, hey, come back and play World of Warcraft Classic. I'm like, absolutely, I'm going to do that. And I just knew nothing. And so one of the guys who Cherry does a lot of work with, Panda, he's amazing at it. Like, and you look at his setup, he's got hotkeys everywhere. He's got like things here, things down here.
So
and he's like, oh, okay, so that's how I get good.
Yeah, there's people that have got like 38 buttons on their mouse. They've got like 14 macros set up. They've got their whole customized UI, and I'm sitting there running around like literally pushing everything one by one by one by one. But whatever. Yeah. Like I actually enjoy it, and it's therapeutic for me. I sort of went right off the game when people were sort of upset with me for not doing something. I was like, well, this is just now a stress. This is not what I wanted.
Yeah.
I'll probably be the same with card games.
Well, that's why I don't touch games like FIFA.
Yeah. I think online does it for you though. Like I've played FIFA myself and just play the games and I enjoy it. And then you go online and some 8-year-old kid absolutely tortures you 5-0, calls you every name under the sun, swears at you, and then wants to be your friend.
Yeah. I it's a mix of that. The internet we used to get back in Western Sydney. And I was just like, no, you know what I'm going to play? I'm going to play my games about exploring open countryside and slaying dragons. Not only this online sports game stuff.
Yeah, no one can touch me when I'm doing that, so I'm just going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
There was a comment just earlier, actually, I wanted to just touch on from Rob, and he's sort of talking about the NBA Academy in Canberra, and so Giddy being one of the first picks. So they might have a few more coming through there. I mean, Paddy Mills is famously from the AIS in Canberra, I believe. So, there's so many moving parts to just the NBA. I mean, I remember when Delhi came in and he got drafted, and I looked and I'm just like, not trying to be a know-it-all, but like having watched basketball forever, I looked at him and I just went, I don't know, man. I just don't think he's got the NBA body. He doesn't seem to be like
Yeah.
someone who would make the NBA. And then he made it, and it was in his time. He was awesome. So that's when I realized that I can't pick it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nah.
That's super cool, though.
Nah.
That's good. We've got who we got? We got Jonathan Magdalenos in the chat, so that's good to see. Hendo, old boy. Hey, Blakey,
That
old
can't be a
boy.
good thing,
Mayo. I've joked that I haven't used the timeout button here yet. We do have one, but I've never had to use it. So
good.
we'll see what happens. Yeah, I don't know.
Can I use it?
Wait, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should make you a mod. You just, I don't even know how to.
Yeah, I just want to time him out.
If I figure out how, you could be the first one to time out Maggie. That would be pretty cool. I'd take that as a claim to fame.
We just make everyone except Maggie a mod.
Yeah, but the trouble is, it'd be the sum of all the positives equal a negative, because Maggie would just constantly be timed out and he wouldn't be on the stream. So we'd work it out.
Yeah.
Cody said he can time out Maggie on Wiki's stream, so that's good. That's good. You guys were playing some games the other night on Wiggy's stream, I believe.
Yes.
I'll have to bring up his page.
We're going to be playing again. I think a few of the guys are playing now with him, and we're going to be playing later as well. That's cool. It's a lot of fun.
Do you remember what his handle is?
I always get it wrong. I think it's Biggie, BIGGI _wig with 1 G. I think.
Right. Sorry, unless you've got a time machine, that content is unavailable. That's an interesting error message.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll come back to it. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
That's all good. I guess coming back to the cherry stuff, the hobby stuff, and all that type of thing, I was going to ask you only because I'm still fairly new to all this stuff, and so when I see products coming out for the second time, it's exciting for me. Other people have been playing and watching this for years, so they're like, oh, Spectra, that's awesome. Like they can see it coming and they know what's cool about it or whatever. But like, what do you think's been, I suppose in brackets, the best, or in talking marks, the best product to come out of 2021 so far? Because it's like there's good, and I guess how people rate it will depend on what they collect. But from your perspective.
Yeah. From my perspective, Spectra really, really blew me out of the water Friday night. A lot of boxes felt extremely good. And then in the bad boxes, you were still a chance of getting something like a LeBron Spectra Silver, anything. Like they all popped up. And so it's like, okay, and with the kind of cool inserts and, the veteran autos and all that sort of thing, it's like, oh, okay, I don't need to get a silver LaMelo to feel like I've done well here. So, boxes were dropping 3 amazing cards, 3 amazing autos, or 2 amazing autos and then a really good insert. So Spectra for me has hit number 1 spot. I think the Sting card format is so good. It used to be a 7 card format, or 8, whatever it was. So,
I've noticed a few of the products where, like, when I've watched you open some of them, and it's like some of the maybe I'm thinking 6 or 7-ish 8 card sort of products, and then you look and it's like 3 of them are all the one team. I always sort of think to myself, that's the gift and curse of breaks, but you always want to be that lucky person. But then if you've paid to get in and 3 or 4 cards go to one person, it's always like you slump your shoulders a bit.
Yeah. Well, Spectra, funnily enough, like most boxes only had 10 people hitting, because I was sorting it as I went, so I could kind of get a feel for that sort of thing. It's like, oh, okay, only 10 people hit in this one. The team who got an auto also got a base, sort of thing, which in 16 cards is a bit more palatable than in 6. So I think it's such a good product this year. Even by the pack, it can be good. Like I hope that, I mean, the market's going to move on it 100%. Like, whatever it is on blowout right now, who knows? But, yeah, it's really solid. I think that's number one for me.
I've noticed a lot of we joked that it's base stick, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's Major League Baseball. But it's a lot of those products too. It seems to be a weird juxtaposition with those, because you got certain Panini ones that don't have the branding or the licensing, but they still seem to find their way to fit, to my eye anyway. Like they do it in I guess like a smoother way as you could. But I found a lot of attention's been going to the baseball lately. I mean, I don't know if you see it from your angle as well, but I've certainly got more involved in it for myself.
Definitely. Well, I think, and you can kind of compare the way Panini does their unlicensed stuff with the way someone like Upper Deck does it. Like, for example, in Goodwin Champions, they don't market Michael Jordan as being from Chicago. They market him as being a basketball player. And so, with the kind of giving them the state sort of thing, it's like, well, this is cool. I like this, I know that they're from... I know that the red LA team is the Angels, obviously, so it's obviously not perfect, but, people love the, patches, people love autos, and, the Panini product still does that, to a degree sort of thing. So it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I've had it a couple of times where I've got the New York Mets in the baseball breaks, and obviously there's two New York teams, and so as they're coming through, you're always sort of looking. If you see the word New York, you're like, is it navy blue or is it that royal blue?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the hardest one to tell the difference between. Chicago Cubs and White Sox are very different. Angels and Dodgers are very different. But then, the New York ones, and especially when like the guys are in like black and white, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, he's a Met. And so, like, on the fly, you're trying to be like, okay, he's a Yankee, he's a Met, he's a Yankee. And then, like, even more on the fly, you just forget where players play. You're like, oh, Pete Alonso, he's a Yankee Mets. And you're just like, and then, like, you'll think about it, like, 3 breaks later and be like, I know that he plays for that team. Why am I doing this?
Yeah. Quite often you'll get, like, you in your experience, you'll, like, having watched the show that many times myself, you'll get people as well just jumping in going, hey, did I get anything in that break? Now, if that was me, I'd be like, oh, I don't know, man. Like, scroll back in the video. Like, I'm already trying to sort them. Yeah. I'm trying to upload them. I'm trying to put the right name so I don't send them to the wrong person. Like, there must be a lot going on there on your side of the camera that a lot of people wouldn't understand, I reckon.
Yeah. Yeah, there is, to a degree. And, like, for example, and not every night's like this, but Friday we did 46 breaks, and then someone's asking me about what happened in like a break that was at 2 p.m. at like 8 p.m. I was like, listen, and so my memory's not that bad in terms of that sort of thing. So I'm like, trying to think back to it. I'm just there like drooling pretty much. Like, what? The process and plan up in the old brain ski not working. And so I was like, it's like, listen, I don't know. And so, there's a lot of things that by doing it for so long, you're just like, yeah, okay, I know how to sleeve a card. I know that how to stop the corners from nicking inside the thing. But yeah, when it comes to stuff like, hey, did the Angels get anything in break 1406? And you're like, 1406 was 3 years ago. Do you need 4106? And then so like you're losing your mind sort of thing. But
I must admit, it's quite impressive at times though. Again, from a distance watching, because someone will say like, hey Blake, break 4025, has that gone yet? And because you set them, I guess it's because you set them up, you put them on the website, you do your run sheet, like you see the numbers a lot. But I'm sitting there thinking, like, I'll as a viewer, and I'm sure other people do it as well, I'll sit there and I'll be like, okay, I go onto the Cherry site, I search that break, and I look it up, only because it's like a dog with a bone. Like I go and try and fetch the info myself. It's not that I'm going to share it, but I just think, but you've already gone, no, that was Major League Baseball. That was earlier tonight. And I'm like, I don't know how the fuck he does that.
Well, Yeah, it's not easy, and so there's a lot of time where I get it wrong, and like, or I get the numbers mixed around in my head, and I'm actively starting to try and avoid that. Like if break 4107 is a noir break, 4170 is not a noir break because I'll lose my
Yeah.
damn mind.
Yeah, there's a system within the system. Peter B's mentioning about
Yeah.
Optimum. 7 number cars, 5
Oh,
numbered under 100, selling organs on the black market. Yeah, I've heard a bit of that. It kind of segues into the other question I had
I
for you,
know.
just in regards to the with cherry footy. Like I've watched a lot more of that
Yes.
Dale's sort of cherry footy stuff, which has really gone. It's really gone great, and it's
God,
it's
isn't
it's
good.
kind of like a different little community within a community, because you see a lot of regulars from the AFL
Yeah.
side. So once I wander in, but do you know what Dale's got plans for in the off season? Is it still footy, or is he going to try and do something
Well,
else? Or not sure.
well, like I'm just kind of thinking about the release schedule that's kind of going on at the moment. Um, Towards the end of finals, Optimum's coming out. Rumors exist of another set that'll come out towards the end of the year, so that'll keep him busy through that. And then he still has all the old products sort of thing, but I have a feeling that the man deserves a break. So
Yeah,
hopefully
I reckon.
once the product kind of dries up a little bit, I hope he has time off. But anybody that's ever spoken to Dale or met Dale or knows what he does at Cherry knows that he won't.
He doesn't
Um,
stop, does he?
but no, he literally, like, people are like, oh wow, Blake, you do a lot of work. Dale is, almost double time. Like he
Wow.
just wears so many hats, and then to come and do better than me at the break team, I was like, all right, listen, man, you got to know your role. And there, funnily enough, and he's never going to admit to this or believe in my conspiracy, but I reckon old Lynn might have been watching some Dale thing from her preview today. Just a few things like she's like, you have to go 5 times. That's a Dale thing. Dale got it off me, and Dale runs with that now, doing the randomizer 5 times, and like just a few things that Lynn did that I'm
Yeah.
like, I reckon she's been watching Dale.
Whenever Grayson does the 4 times, it's just I'm used to 5, so it
Yeah.
always tilts me. And I've watched other breaks before where they roll dice and stuff, like vintage breaks and that they roll dice and stuff first and then do it, and like they'll randomize it like 7 times.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm kind of like that guy out of something about Mary, where he just like starts like twitching, like it can't be anything
Yeah.
other than 5.
Yeah. Well, I would roll the dice, except I don't want 11. Like, that is, people are always like, why don't you roll the dice?
Yeah.
I'm like, no one wants to watch me sit there and be like, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so, like, people have said, like, oh, always doing 5's a bit sus. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, why
It's
don't you
consistent.
randomize the dice? Yeah, why don't you
Yeah.
roll the dice? I don't want to. I don't want to risk doing
Yeah.
11. I don't want to risk doing 12. This ain't sick, Bo. It's not more
Yeah.
rewarding for doing 12. Like, just let me do my 5, and I am done.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Oh,
right. It's consistent. It's easy. There's no drama. I mean, like, yeah, you roll double 6 to get out of jail. It doesn't. You don't have to worry about all that. So
yeah, no,
it's yeah, it's pretty straightforward. What's going on, Peter
yeah.
Lee? G'day, mate. Weaver's here. Got a few of the crew in. Cody's here. I should have said that a little bit earlier. Um, Hunter's asking if we can get any personals. That's good.
Oh,
You never know.
yes. Yeah, I've actually got some stuff here.
No, you're off the clock, mate. You're off the clock.
Yeah.
I did have a question for you in terms of asking if you'd added to your Betty White collection since we last spoke.
No, but I have been looking around and like I've added to my Patrick Ewing collection. I was gifted some very nice Patrick Ewing cards, and but yeah, Betty White collection. Nothing added to it yet. I might need to. I've been looking at getting a whole bunch of old Japanese wrestling, which
Oh,
again, I don't want to
nice.
start a new collection just yet. Brooks
Sounds
like
like it's
looking
too
at me as
late.
if to be like, "You're getting what?" Yep. But yeah, so I think I'll just wait for like the AEW cards or something to come out before I go hard at another collection sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, that's
Maybe even open some Optimum.
Yeah, right. It leads to one of the questions we got from Insta, actually, from our good pal Bauer. He's asked, on a scale of a dribble to a bucket load, how much did you spray at CM Punk's return?
I purchased AEW Plus just to watch it because I was like, I'm not watching this illegally. I'm not having some ad being like "sexy singles are in your area" to pop up when he appears or thing. I was like, no, I'll get this legally. And I got a bit emotional. I was like, oh my God, because like, you know, young Blakey was idolized CM Punk. So I was like,
Yeah, right.
absolutely, I'm stoked. Like, and like, I don't know,
That's
it's kind of
cool.
like I get this thing when I see people like enjoying things or really that I'm like, oh, I'm so happy sort of thing. And so like it was, just seeing somebody obviously fall back in love with something like he did with the wrestling was just like, this is brilliant. I love this. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah. It's cool because you don't have to be like I'm not a wrestling fan, but I must admit, like over the last 12 months, like seeing people collecting and talking about
Yeah.
what they love about wrestling, like to me, it's like if I see someone else obtain a card, like whether it's UFC or whether it's wrestling or whether
Mm.
it's anything, like you can still get that buzz, and so it's
Yeah.
like I sort of reignite all these old memories of when I was like super young. But like I'm talking about Hulk Hogan and the Iron Sheik and Ricky
Yeah.
the Steamboat and all these sorts of guys. I used to watch them as a kid, like
Yeah.
crazy. It's super cool though.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the only other real cherry question I had was in regards to the lucky breaks that you've done. So you've done two of them now.
Yes.
The first one was raising funds for Beyond Blue, which got 629
Yep.
bloody entrants, which is fantastic. The second
Yes.
one, strength to strength, like most of the things you guys do, was for the Lost Dogs Home and it got 1,004 entries. So I
Yes.
guess my question is, what's next for the lucky break? Or you're still organising it?
It, yeah. Well, that's it. Well, I'm kind of still organizing at the moment. It's like such a bizarre thing. Like, we've been in contact with the people from Beyond Blue. We've been in contact with the people from the Lost Dogs Home as well. In fact, I need to tell the Lost Dogs Home exactly how much we raised. Set a reminder for myself on Monday, sort of thing. Being sick towards the end of the week, I was like, I can tell them that. Tell them tomorrow, and tomorrow came, and but yeah, been in contact with them for a while, and yeah, they're stoked. Like, but next, it's kind of like, well, what do we do next? There's a lot of things going on in the world. Like, we like to pick something kind of relevant at the time as well.
Yeah.
But then something also local. So it's quite a difficult sort of choosing thing because there's so many charities that deserve it. There's so many charities that like,
Yeah.
if I could, I'd give $10,000 to every day of the week sort of thing. So it's like, well, who do we choose? And then obviously at the end of the year we have the 24-hour stream, which always benefits the Maggie, which always benefits the Came Out Wishing Tree appeal.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
saw his comment. Well, they take care of cats as well, Maggie. But yeah, so it's kind of like, well, we're constantly building towards whatever it is we can do, and so it's super cool to be able to do it. And yeah, it's just like, what's next? Who's next? Who needs it, sort of thing. Oh.
By request. I have to put that up by request. I hope no one's offended by it. But yeah. Carpet punter. When he's got this many shares in the show, when he asks me to do something, I just do it. So
Yeah, that's
share
it.
that share that for the crew.
The producer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the executive producer. So yeah, so look, I guess I'll come back to a couple of questions in a second, but I just wanted to touch on something only because we're talking about obviously trying to give back and trying to do the right thing and trying to help out people in need. So Mayo will no doubt say this is a paid ad, but it's not paying me. So I think that's all okay. But basically, what we've done is we've partnered up with the Tea Tree, or I've partnered up with the Tea Tree here to get some sort of fun merch options going and all that sort of thing. So all the proceeds from the sale of these items are going straight to charity. So the first charity I've chosen to kick things off is Food Bank Victoria. Been in the news a bit lately, obviously for not great reasons, just in terms of lockdowns and demonstrations and all the stuff that's going on at the moment. It's a bit rough. So, but yeah, so look, it's not gonna make millions of dollars, but I think I think it's important to try and get some momentum for some of that stuff. What we've done is we've chucked up the store on the website. Little ditty here about young influencers and how much they think our shit is drip and how cool it is. But that's a direct quote from my stepson. So I asked him, hey mate, I go, what would you say if you were going to say to your mate, hey man, go and check out these clothes, they're super awesome. I go, what would you say? And he'd go, honestly, I'd just say, hey, go look at it, it's good. I'm like, right, that's good enough for me. So yeah, so we've got a bit of everything going on here. So with thanks to the Tea Tree, yeah, it's good. We've had a bunch come through already, which is really, really nice, including yourself, Blake. So thank you very much for purchasing a high quality garment for your body.
Yes, I'm excited.
And yeah, so we're gonna be sending all that all those proceeds through to the food bank. So yeah, so just a little something there. Thanks to, you'll see Rob pop up in the chat, Rob Gregg. So he's the man behind the Tea Tree. So thanks heaps to him as well. It was good to reconnect with him and have a yarn about how we could sort of put something together. So I've also, one key important thing is there's one here that's just got the little face on it. If you don't want to walk around the streets with the word Baseline Drunks written all across yourself. So that's one option. But yeah, so yeah, great. Jump in and have a look. Hopefully we can, we've already raised a little bit of money, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And, it is a good feeling to, even though this is all a little bit of fun and we have a bit of sort of jokes and sort of fuck around every Sunday night and talk shit about nothing. Yeah. It's nice to sort of put the serious stuff in as well. So very cool.
Absolutely. And the designs are amazing as well. A
little bit of me and a lot of Rob. The college tee it was all Rob. It's a good look, and that seems to be the most popular one at the moment. So Nico's given us probably the greatest endorsement he can give. That's fantastic.
Yeah, no point hiding it.
No, that's true. That's true. Keep the movement alive. I like it. Maggie's upset.
What's he upset about?
He's upset that I've said the F word, but that's all right. It's just the F word. It's no big deal. We always tick the box that says this show's not necessarily for kids, just in case.
It's fine.
Any consolation, Punter says way worse stuff. Bless his heart.
Yes. Yeah, even sometimes on the chat, Damo's in the background, on the live shows in the background saying things. Like, he said something on his breath the other day, and I just kind of looked at him and was like, has me being live for the past 3 hours not occurred to you yet? Like sorry.
It would feel pretty, I imagine the hustle and bustle of the shop. And I mean, I've not been in there, so I don't see anything other than what's, on the vision. But I imagine there's a fair bit going on, and it could be very easy to just be at work when you're just talking shit in the store. Like, I'd be doing it for sure. I'd be.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, we have an upstairs and a downstairs, and so the upstairs is for retail front packing of orders and stuff, and downstairs is for the little studio and the more administrational guys. And it just kind of down there, Grayson can come out and say something horrible, or Damo can drop something and everyone will laugh at him, and I'm halfway through a pack and Damo's dropped cards, and I'm like.
Well, you can't have
which is kind of the best part.
Well, it's real, yeah. Like it's a real
Yeah.
environment, and I think part
Living
of
room.
the part of the appeal of watching you on the breaks and that is that it's not a robotic experience. You're not sitting there, and
No.
it's not like watching the TV, which I think is where content is going. Back in the day, it's like you used to have to
Yes.
look straight down the barrel, and it's like newsreader stuff and keep your tie on, and now
Mm.
everything's a lot more relaxed. So, which works for me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking about the other day. Like there's not a lot of TV shows I watch anymore. A lot of the content I consume these days is podcasts.
Yep, same.
Videos on YouTube where people are doing things. It's like, okay, yeah, you know,
I
what am I
think the
watching?
really the big differentiator though is that the differentiator for me is that you can actually, as long as you behave yourself, and people have to learn that, and some of them learn it the hard way, but being able to interact with your TV screen, if you jump in a time machine and head back even just to like the 90s or early 2000s, the chances of you being
Mm,
able to say to the person that's on your TV screen, "Hey man, how you going?" and they go, "Hey man, I'm good. I hope you're well as well," and all that sort of stuff. Like
yeah,
back in the day, it's like you
yeah,
just had the newsreader, and you could scream at the TV all you wanted about whatever you're upset about, but they never spoke back.
yeah,
So I think that's a big shift.
yeah. That's it. Well, yeah, and especially in a world where social interaction is very, very limited at the moment. Like, you know, it's good to kind of like. I think it's anything that has a community around it. You're like, oh, can't wait to see what Hendo's doing and how Carpet Punter's going to abuse Maggie, and it's like any sort of thing where it's like you set it like it's like the episode of Baseline Drunks is on tonight. Sweet, I can't wait to go hang out with my friends, sort of thing. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
and that's
and
what it
that's
feels
the
like.
idea.
Like that's the
Yeah,
goal.
it becomes like, and I think speaking
You
more
know.
to your show, it does become part of the routine. And I know it sounds very cliche, and they've said it for a long time
Mm,
about television shows historically, but it's like you become part of the evening, or part of the person's day,
mm,
or part of the person's week, or whatever. And everyone's got their different levels of interaction. But I think it says a lot though that the chat, especially on Cherry, the chat is always there's a core group of a bunch of people that are just always there,
yeah.
and always like getting up and about if someone gets a card, or
Mm,
they're
yeah.
checking people if they're being dickheads. Like there's this little
Yeah.
unspoken, like no one gets hostile. Typically it's pretty rare,
No.
but
Yeah.
occasionally there's just like a couple little checks, like hey, put your head in, champ.
Yep.
So
Calm down.
yeah, everyone calm down. It's
Yeah.
fine.
We're
Peter Lee.
yeah, we're very lucky in that regard. And it's the most fun thing is like it's fun to watch people kind of like grow and that sort of thing. Like and see things come together. Like,
Yeah.
someone mentioning for the first time, oh, I kind of want to collect baseball cards. And then like Cody's a perfect example. Cody kind of like was collecting a few different things. He's like, oh, I really like baseball cards. And then last night Friday night, hit an amazing baseball card. And like, wow, like I've seen that growth. And I'm sure, people remember the first time I was like, oh, I think I'm ready to get a dog. And now, several months later,
Yeah,
there's a
yeah,
big white ball of fluff sitting on my ground where my Lego desk used to be.
yeah. The Millennium Falcon, no more. There
Yeah.
was one question here from Jimmy P. I thought was really interesting, actually. But are you getting a special studio space in the new shop? I don't really know much about the new shop, but I suppose you could
100%
probably make
yes.
something like that.
Yeah, so the new shop we have a lot of freedom with. Again, we don't know 100% what it is yet or how it's going to look like. There's been a few different hiccups here and there, but the
Yeah,
idea, the concept, and something I'm really putting my foot down is that I want a studio space separate from my desk, sort of thing. So I
makes a
don't
lot
have
of
to sit
sense.
there. I go in there and it's like, because I'll be sitting there just replying to emails and be like, oh, 1 a.m., 1 p.m., time to click on. And then, I am looking forward to having a space that I walk into. I'm like, all right, here we go. It's showtime, baby. Like, I get a little
Yeah,
smoke
yeah.
screen popping out of it, sort of thing. Like,
You can do
you
the
know,
Undertaker thing again, like last time. That was
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, get Sirius playing and throw the smoke up in the air. See what Alan
Yeah.
Parsons is up to. Maybe we'll do a live version. Like, yeah.
Nico's got a question here, but I don't really fully understand it. So I'm just gonna just put it up, and hopefully you can understand it.
Okay, so I've got two luminaries boxes, but because of the
Oh,
way I
Lumi.
draw my C, my L's, they look like C's. So everyone's been calling them Kumis. And so with that, it's like, okay. Yeah, I'll chuck them in a showcase or something. I'll put them in something nice. There you go. You got me.
I'll consider
New
yourself
shop,
brainwashed,
by the
mate.
way, is Melbourne. It will still be Melbourne for now. Trust me, we're
That's
trying to
fair.
send as many staff up to Sydney as we can. Do you want a demo? Tabby? Just send the send the send the
So
dread
guys, they're
number.
going nuts about it. They've lost it
I know,
now.
I can see it.
You've gone and said. So
Yeah,
what I might do is it's not really a segue, but I might switch over to it anyway, only because you did mention him before with the mighty Bentley. Let's come back to old Bentley for a sec.
Yes.
See
Bentley,
if he
come
comes
here.
over. I wanted to share.
Come here.
I wanted to share the big dog on the screen. I've even got. Yeah, go and grab him. We even put an Insta shout out at the top right hand corner of the screen. That's all happening. Here he is, the star of the show. He wandered off for a minute, but we knew he was coming back.
Yeah.
So how long have you had Bentley now? Because it's been, I would have guessed it's been about 4 weeks or 6 weeks, but it's probably more than that. I don't know.
Just shy of a month, I believe.
Oh,
so
right.
We
Well, there you
got
go.
him the last weekend we were out of lockdown, if that helps anyone.
Which lockdown, mate?
So yeah, well, the one in between 6 and 7, you know.
Yeah, 6.5, no worries.
But yeah. So he we got him then. He's just been a blessing, some real learning to do, sort of thing. Like, you know, how dogs deal with anxiety. Isn't that right? You have separation anxiety. But yeah, how to train a dog to do different things.
Like use Instagram.
He's also quite fluffy, and groomers are hard to come by, them like impossible to come by at the moment.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because of lockdown and stuff. So we're gonna have. I might just grab the old scissors out, I reckon, and chop.
Yeah, it's a stressful job, though. Admittedly, I did that with an old puppy dog of mine many years ago, and cutting their hair is like, it's really stressful because once you get down near their paws and once you get near their, like, I don't know, just near their ears, you can't tell how long their ears are. It's so stressful. It's just, I don't know. I'd just let him. I'd let him throw out until you can get someone to do it.
Loose sort of thing. Yeah. I think he's because he gets quite warm.
Oh yeah. My mum's got a similar sort of sized dog to Bentley, and her dog goes from, his name's Barney, and he goes from fluffy and massive to then he gets the groomer and it's completely shorn. He looks like a shorn sheep, and then he just puffs out again.
Yeah, I have a feeling he's going to do the same because right now he looks like kind of quite thick, and I'm like, wow, he's put on a lot of weight. Like, we've been kind of being good with it, like, you know, trying not to overfeed him. And then you run your hand through his hair, and it's like, oh, it's all hair. Like, there's, you know, he's quite spoiled. He somehow managed to get a pool today.
A pool?
I don't know. Yes, a little dog pool.
Nice.
He apparently just really wanted it. So
yeah, well, you know,
it was half
the dog
price
wants.
at the pet shop, and that's it.
We can collect for the win.
Yeah,
I dig it.
I reckon I can fit in that. Yeah, I can fit in that.
Basically, like hot tub rain blaker at this point.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, in what might be the most impressive, moment of your career, maybe is that Universal Fish Nation here are pretty excited for Bentley's photo. Um,
Oh,
386,000 followers, and Universal Fish Nation are pretty pumped
wow.
that Bentley's been just posting on Insta. So yeah, accolades come from the weirdest
Yeah.
places. So
I could pretty pumped if a dog was posing on Insta as well. Brooke, one of the first things Brooke asked me was like, "So what's his Instagram handle going to be?" And I'm like,
yeah,
"He's getting an Instagram. Is he okay?" I thought you'd spread that clout between us, sort of thing, and not have a third party. But um, I went with Bentley after the Yeti from Spyro 3. So like we had a whole bunch of names, and Bentley came up. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I like that name." Rook's like, "Yeah, it's really cute." I'm like, "Yeah, I like the Yeti from Spyro 3." And I don't know how many people played Spyro 3, but every time I say it, people are like, "Oh yeah, of course, the Yeti from Spyro 3." I'm like, "Yeah, and
yeah.
his little brother." And no one has any idea what I'm talking about.
Nah, I'm now a statistic because I had no idea either. I just smile and nod, smile and nod.
Yeah, sweet, sweet, yeah,
But I guess I learned something, so that's a good thing.
yeah,
Couple other questions we got through from Insta. We got one from Dan Howard, friend of the show, Dan Howard, I like to say. But his
yep.
question was, how did you get into breaking, and were you doing it before you got a job with Cherry?
No, I got into breaking, funnily enough, after a break in at Cherry. So I went to, because I lived in this city and stuff. I'd go to Cherry a fair bit, pick up cards, And one day he got broken into, one of the many break-ins, and I was there and was like, "Oh, okay. Listen, if you need me to watch the store while you go do insurance stuff, I can do that for you." And he's like, "Okay." And so that was the start of my master plan to get into breaking. And so one night I'm like, "Listen, if you need help doing this, like, I don't know if it was the same night or if it was after another break in, but yeah." So from there, he kind of just trusted me to do things here and there. And like one day, I made the plan. I'm like, "Listen, I can be your break guy. I can do it."
Yeah.
And so I was just doing it here and there. He taught me how to do it, and then yeah, I had a shift at Crown and was having a shower for it. And he called me. He's like, "Listen, want to offer you a full time role breaking sort of thing." Because pre me, Cherry was Monday and Thursdays only. There's
Yeah,
no big
right.
release
Yeah,
night
these are the
stuff.
parts
It
I
was
don't
just
know, so I'm interested. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So before me, Cherry was Monday Thursday nights, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. He's like, yeah, we want to expand to 5 nights a week sort of thing, and I'm like, done. That's me. I'm in. But in reality, I was like, oh, I don't know if I should take this. Like, and so Brooke was so supportive about it, and I was like, well, Crown's so good because you get paid stupid money for nothing, sort of thing. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna go to work, think about it for the next few nights, and I just had the worst night at work ever. Like, people were blowing cigars in my face, my sinuses were thing. I had a migraine. I went home. I'm pretty sure I cried in the bath watching Paddington 2 and was like, "I'm gonna take this job. I'm gonna take this out of care anymore." And so yeah, I took the job, and the rest is history. And so we went from 2 nights a week for 2 hours, went to 24-hour streams and breaks every day,
yeah,
sort of thing.
yeah. Well, we're very happy.
Yeah,
Not so much that
and
you were crying in the bath, but I mean, one thing leads to another. I guess
yeah.
we're happy that happened.
Well, that's it. Yeah, it was a rough night. Like, customers were insulting me. I was like, "Listen, this is not good. I think I'm done here." And then yeah, went home and watched
Yeah.
Paddington 2 in the bath. Now I don't even own a bath to cry in. So
He's got to do it on
yeah,
terra firma like the
hey,
rest of
had
us,
always
mate.
done
That's all right.
had always done like different production sort of things. Like, I enjoyed public speaking and stuff. And yeah, just I guess I kind of fell into it pretty naturally. Luckily, like, hopefully.
I
Um,
dig it.
and now I can't think of doing anything else. It's like,
Yeah, it's cool though, but I guess one of the beauties I see from afar is that you've got a fair bit of creative license to sort of do things the way you want to do them, in sense of, if you want to build a certain break, or there'll be parameters like in every business, but it's like you seem to. I mean, that's what it looks like from where I'm sitting. You get the opportunity to sort of express yourself through it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very lucky that Grayson decides to bet on me with a lot of things. Like, and I'm like, listen, and there's a lot of times I have to be like, listen, you let me do this sort of thing. Like, and so from, breaks based around my birthday to dumb stuff like that, even the 24-hour stream, he didn't have a lot to do with it. I'm like, listen, I want to do this. Is it okay? Like, not so much is it okay. I'm like, this is why I think it'll work, is what he needs me to, is what he likes people coming to. And I'm like, listen, raise money for the charity, and like that partnership with Kmart and Salvation was huge for us. And then put all that together, and it's like, okay, sweet, this is what it's going to result in. This is what I think. He's like, do it, go ahead. You believe it's going to work, it's going to work. And it's like, okay, sweet. And then from there, it has worked. I was like, there's a few things that, listen, we put on the back burner big time that I think about. I'm like, no, it's probably a good idea to have not done that, or that wouldn't have worked for X, X, and X, and I see that now. But he's very willing for me to make mistakes and then be like, okay, so why this didn't work was this, this, and this. And it's like, okay.
Yep. Yep. Some of the best people I've ever worked for are the type of people that actually say to you, like, I'm in sales, and so a lot of sales managers or MDs or whatever, depending on who you're reporting to, they'll always use this the I guess it's like a cliche. It's like, oh, run it like your own business. And you think to yourself, yeah, cool, I'll run it like my own business. But as soon as you go to do anything, people are pulling you back. And you're like, well, hang on, is it really my business?
Yeah.
Or is it not? And so whenever you find, I've found it a couple of times, like my current boss is very much like this, in the sense that he goes, go do what you think is going to work, but analyze. If it doesn't work, analyze it and don't repeat the same, mistake, which is, it makes you feel so different going to work. Like, it's just different.
Yeah.
I can definitely relate.
Yeah. And so and that kind of and you learn from that so quickly, and then you're like, okay, the next idea is going to be this, and the next idea is going to be that. And so it's at a point now where I kind of know what works and what doesn't, and you can just have so much fun with it. Like the birthday break idea, the 24-hour stream. It's all the stuff that I know is going to work because I've learnt from different things, and have gone on with it, sort of thing. So this year's 24-hour stream is 100% happening. I hope Baseline Drunks is going to be a part of it. This is the official invite, if you will, to a slot, whatever time you like.
As long as I don't have to share my stream, Blake, that's all. That's the biggest problem. If it's through an avenue I'm not comfortable with, I'm going to get very anxious.
Well, I've upped my game and learnt how to share my screen so that you can jump onto my thing like I've done with this. So
that's great.
It should be good. I'll have to build all the
better already.
Stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a whole bunch of stuff similar to last year, because I think don't change too much of a good thing, but also improve it from last year as well. And then who knows if people are going to be allowed inside the store, or who knows if people are going to be allowed to be out, sort of thing. So
can't plan anything at the moment in a way, or you're limited in what you can plan at the moment because of that.
Yeah. Well, that's it. So a lot of the okay, we're going to do this break's happening now. Like putting product aside, all sweet Spectra's here. I'll keep a case of that aside for the 24-hour stream. But the potentially plan 3 a.m. better, because that was a mess last time.
Cody's mentioned
my
3
plan
a.m.
is to do that a bit better. Oh,
I think
how many people.
I can't remember what time it was, but
at the time, but
I can't remember what time it was. But what time did you do Blake's peephole? What time was that? I know it was late.
It would have been not long after that, because I had a micro sleep during a Contenders draft week break. And when I realized I was doing that, I'm like, I need to do something else. Like, I can't just sit here and play chess on the computer sort of thing. So yeah, I was like, okay, sweet, here we go. And then like the idea of talking to people came to me, and I'm like, oh my god, this is the best idea ever. And
Yeah.
not even to be condescending, but I was like, people are going to be able to talk, and I'm going to be able to just listen for a little bit. And then
Yeah.
it ended up being the best part of the entire night. Like, it was ended up being the absolute 4 to 5 a.m. It was brilliant, like so good.
It broke the fourth wall for a lot of people, I think, because it's like you see,
Yeah,
I don't know, like some people have just got a letter as their name, but you feel like you know them because you chat
yeah,
in the stream all the time, and next thing you know, you hear their voice
100%.
and they're talking shit about just whatever. Like honestly, it's 4 or 5 in the
Yeah,
morning. Like it doesn't matter, but it was just something to. You could see that you got a lot of energy out of it too, which was cool.
I absolutely, it 100% was what kept me going till the middle of the day, sort of thing. Because I was like, just letting other people talk was a big one, and then the way everyone reacted to it, like everyone was jumping in. It's a shame Maggie wasn't there. Yeah,
It'll
and
be in the
it
next
did.
one.
It brought everyone closer. Like everyone heard each other's voice, heard each other's stories, sort of thing. So I was like, oh, this is exactly what we need to do, sort of thing. Like, and so um, it's kind of been an on-off plan, but I think the whole Blake's Peephole thing is best for 24-hour stream. I think it's best for those dirty late night hours while
Yeah, so,
only the
yeah.
true degenerates are up, sort of thing. Like, but yeah, it's so good.
Full degen. That's important. That's gold.
Yeah.
I dig it. So another question, I have heard you answer this before, but someone on Insta, their handle is Chipper84, actually asked, "What's the biggest card you've pulled?"
Yeah, I always struggle with this because it's like it
Yeah, I've
almost
heard.
changes. It's almost like a thing that is so different for so many people. Like the LaMelo Ball 101 is huge just because of it was the first 101 from hoops, like, pretty early on in the piece. The Nebula Justin Herbert as well. That was on Golden. It got, however much it was. Someone in chat will know. But yeah, it's
That
kind of
was
like
Ferg.
those
Yeah,
are the cards to,
that
yeah,
was Ferg. He sold it through Golden. Yeah, it was
yeah,
massive, like massive.
yeah, yeah. And so cards like that, you can say like the biggest cards, or and I kind of like those ones, the real unique ones, the real cool, different ones, because like a Zion RPA from Flawless will always sell high, sort of thing. Um, extremely high. A Luca RPA will always sell high, but yeah, for me, the biggest cards are the ones that are unique and cool and different and kind of represent something at the time. Like,
Yeah.
I remember the week after Kobe passed, we just had a string where, um, you know, 3 nights in a row we hit Kobe auto, and for those, like, they felt really, really big.
I reckon
You know,
if like even
the other
now,
night,
like yeah, even now,
yeah,
if I was to hit something like that, I'd just be a blubbering mess. I don't know how anyone would have kept it together in the
yeah,
2 or 3 or 4 or 5 weeks after that happened. Because yeah, game over.
yeah, and it was a bit like that. It was kind of like, so I was so happy for the person, but at the same time, I was so like, wow, like this is
Yeah, it's feeling.
heavy sort of thing. Yeah, 100%.
B Dub's getting that one of one Patrick Williams just this week. That is
Yes,
that
that
is
is
one of the most
huge.
that
And
is one of the most enjoyable moments on a stream that I've seen, because there's certain
yes,
people throughout the community where certain players come out, and for me, Patrick Williams is
yeah,
definitely one where I see it and I'm like, shit, I hope B Dubs is in this break. I hope it's, and the amount of times I'd
well,
seen him go, Blake, it's the wrong case, like I'm in the other break or whatever, and then for him to get that, like I
yeah,
was legit blown away. Like I was so happy for
yeah.
him. It was amazing. That was super cool.
Well, yeah, and B Dubs is such a nice guy. Like he messaged me when I was feeling unwell. Like he always sends messages. Been around for ages, and so he yeah, and it's kind of become a joke. And like you probably hear me reference it even when he's not on the stream or not around. Like, geez, we don't see a lot of Patrick Williams this year because we didn't. Like we just didn't. And then some people, some people think that the Nebula Spectral logo men are better than even logo men from NBA from National Treasures just because of the Nebula design.
Yeah.
And
Oh, it's a beautiful
so
card.
for
Like
me,
even just him getting it was good enough. But then when you look at it, it's like it's not like it's just an achievement. Even though the card looks shit, it's just an achievement. It's like it had everything. It's like it's the most gorgeous card. It's great guy.
Yeah.
I even just me personally, I've noticed all the ups and downs of like, it comes out in the wrong case. It's like, oh my god!
Yeah.
It was like I think everyone just exploded in the chat because everyone sort of got it.
Yeah, well, that's it. The amount of times like I've opened like Revolution, got no Patrick Williams, and then the next one like a nice Patrick Williams comes out. I'm like, Ben, I hope you're still not watching. He's like, I am, and it's like, oh, why?
Yeah. I've seen it. It's one of those players for me that it's like one of the five, I guess, that just sticks in my head. Like that people follow a certain team or you follow a player or whatever, and I don't know. It was just one of those really, as a viewer, even it was just like strangely emotional for a person I've never met before.
Yeah, this feels good. Yeah,
to hit a card, it felt really good that he hit that. So
yeah, and then I'm sure you can see me go over and look at it and be like, oh my god, it's B-dubs, like, and get even more excited, sort of thing. Like, he's been on the hunt all year, and like I've not been kind to him, so him sticking through it is a big old pat on the back for him. But
it's a funny
like, that make me say like,
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry. It's cards like that make me say that's the biggest card I pulled. I think, like, for what it meant for the person.
Yeah. No, I can understand that. And look, it's a weird. It can't be in both buckets. I say that a lot. Just even just in general life, like you can't put things in two buckets at the same time. But it's a weird juxtaposition, but for viewers when they watch you break the card, because if you break the card, everyone's like, "Oh, thanks, Blake. Thanks, Blake." And in the back of your mind, you're like, well, I mean, it was in there and I yanked it out. Like, great. But on the flip side, it's like, oh, Blake, why can't you break me a card? It's like, well, I don't control the cards, mate. So it's kind of like, and so there's a bit of both.
Yeah. And so you probably notice I try and move on from things very quickly for that exact reason. As happy as people are for somebody, there are 29 other people in that break who are like, damn, wish it was me, sort of thing. And so good cards, bad cards, there is an element that you kind of need to be like, okay, yeah, let's move on. Like, we've seen that, the Nebula logo is a little bit different. Like, that actually knocked me around, that sort of thing. But, when it comes to like your everyday sort of autos, it's kind of like, well, nice card, congrats. Hopefully the other 29 people are stoked in the next one, sort of thing.
Some hit and some miss. That's the nature of the game. But you kind of notice it in the chat as well on the other side of the screen from where you are, is that, we'll kind of sit there, and I know I do, I'll sit there with a tab open and I'll just keep typing in the break number. Even though I'm just watching, I'm not in it, but I'll type the break number in and I'll see who's bought what. And then you look and you just go, okay, here's 3 people I know. And you're sort of barracking for the randomizer and just silly shit like that. But then if one person's in it, everyone's just like, right, let's say it's carpet. You're like, all right, good luck, carpet. And you see it 5 or 6 people. If they hit, everyone's just like, yeah, CP, you did it. But if there's no hit, everyone just goes quiet.
Yeah.
It's like, don't say anything, man. Like, let's keep it moving.
Yeah, that's it. And so, you kind of do need to do that. And so I don't often get to do it, but maybe like the Cody, he's in the chat at the moment. He did bring it up. And it was probably taking advantage of how tired I was. Being able to mess with him on that last Acuna card. Has been was so much fun. Like, and so you usually don't get to do it, sort of thing. And like, usually you wouldn't, but just I don't know. Everything felt right about doing it that night, and was like, I am going to have a bit of fun with this one. It's hard. Like, and so obviously there are people who buy into breaks, who bought into breaks for the entire 3 years I've been here, beyond that,
Yeah,
who
right.
were breaking with Grayson when they were originally there, who I've never spoken to, just never
Yeah.
had we go about day to day sort of thing. And then from that, it's like, okay, there's people who come into the store for their first ever card sort of thing. And I am now friends with them. And, you speak to them every single day sort of thing. And so it's like, it's hard to be like, oh, I hope this person does well, when really it's like, I need everybody to do well. Like, I wish everybody could do well sort of thing.
Yeah, it's the name of the game, though. I think Jimmy P sums it up pretty much correctly. It's. I've never seen it where someone's like, "Oh, Blake, you should lift," because I mean, people know,
Yeah.
mate. You're opening the cards. It's like it's
Yeah.
not like you can actually control it. There was one question that came through, and I couldn't pick who it was. I know who it is, but I don't. If you know what I mean. I can't remember their handle name, but it was a Josh, and his question was, "What are the best techniques to not put accidental hexes on customers during breaks?" And I think I've seen the comments before where you've accidentally apparently put a hex on someone, which I thought was hilarious because I can tell it's tongue in cheek. It's not actually serious.
Josh Hare.
Is that what it is? Yeah. Okay.
I was doing a break, and so the randomizer list I have hasn't changed the Washington team name yet.
Right.
And so for like 3 days in a row, Washington was on top or bottom, and I was like, and because it's there, and I don't like to bring attention to it, I forget to do it. I was like, oh, geez, I hope it's not Washington again. And I accidentally put a hex on him. And I felt so bad. Because
I saw the comment and I was like, I've seen it in the chat.
Yeah. Obviously the name is, not there anymore. It's like, I should just get my own list that I copy from sort of thing. But,
there's enough going on. A little heads up, like an automated list that you can just go to a website, a bookmark. I mean, no one's going to be upset with that. There's a lot of other shit going on.
And so, I was kind of like, oh, geez, I don't want to say. I should have said, I hope I don't have to say their name, but
no, that's
listen, I hexed him, I cursed him.
At least you own it.
Yeah.
Mayo asked, "Are you wearing pants? And if yes, why?" Now we've seen that you are in fact wearing pants.
I am wearing pants. I am because Bentley peed on me, so at least it just went on the pants and not me. So that's a pretty good reason.
That's good.
But yeah, no. Oh, I just got home, so
it's fair. It's probably a good enough answer. Like my dog peed on my leg. That's why I'm wearing pants. It's good enough for me.
Yeah.
Now another question came from someone who, much like everything in the hobby, I might know this person, but I don't know them by their Insta. But it was Omayan _ collection, and I'm not 100% sure who that is. But it's a good question though, because it's will we see NFTs of breaker hits, and which big boy moment would sell best? And I reckon it's a wicked question, because if you were to pump out a bunch of cherry NFTs that had I don't know, to 25, let's say, and you just said, right, they're $100 each.
Yeah.
I think they'd sell out in a heartbeat. You could try and maybe do it for the 24-hour stream. I don't know how hard it is to make an NFT.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Ben, apparently.
Yeah, I have no
G'day,
idea.
Ben. Thanks for tuning in, mate. Legend.
Well, Ben was the one who did the scarf signature of me. He did the timeless moment of Tabby. He's done some amazing stuff
shit. Okay.
as well.
It's all coming together.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Check him out on Instagram. I mean, yeah.
That's gold.
And so that'd be so much fun. I feel like cherry moments would be almost good as well. Like Dale drops his pizza in the bin. Tabby abuses Uber woman. Like
it'd be sick.
Like all those sort of things. Yeah.
Grayson finishes a break and still has more boxes to go.
Yeah. I was actually gonna see how hard it was to get actual cards made up of just different things like that, and was gonna look into it sort of thing, and maybe have like a thing for the 24-hour stream, like if you donate X amount, you got to pack a card sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It'd be sick. It'd be like
yeah,
Tops
Dale
now.
Yeah, but like Cherry Y. Yeah, Dale getting rough watching the footy. Like, I have a video on my phone that will never see the light of day just because of the violence in it. I also have one where Tabby is beating Dale in the AFL Evolution, and that'll never see the light of day. Maybe to the highest bidder, and they can do what they want with it. It escapes my responsibility. It's like how
Oh,
Charlie
geez.
Bit My Finger became an NFT. Dale abuses Tabby NFT.
Well, some of the back store rather than backyard, but back store cricket videos from
Yes.
last summer. They got a fair bit of traffic, I would have thought, just with the Big Bash, the Cherry Big Bash.
Yeah. Well, there were so many good moments that weren't recorded. Like, Tabby had to get like 2 runs to win, and I bowled and made an over, and he was disgusting after that. And the worst part was, I counted them down. I was like, 6 ball, no ball. Like, I mean, no dot ball.
Yeah.
5, no runs. 4, no runs. And so bowled the perfect over, and he was just disgusting after it. Like, truly, truly feral.
No sportsmanlike moments
Worse than
there.
the Uber lady.
I don't know. I don't know
No,
the Uber
no
story.
Tabby Thomas moment there.
No
So,
good.
Tabby, there's a video somewhere. I'll send it to you, and you can have a watch. But all in all, his Uber driver drove away with his food, and he just became disgusting and like was yelling. And Dale had got the camera up from the front table, and he's just sitting on the front desk like this because it was like 4 weeks in a row, 4 days in a row that he stuffed up a shout. And so, like, the week before he got me a burger, he's like, I got you a mushroom burger. I go, thanks, Tabby. And I trusted him. I put my faith in him. That man is my friend. So I was like, you know what? I will put my faith in you, Tabby. I bite into it, and it's a burger with mushrooms on it, made of beef.
But a beef
And I
burger,
was
yeah,
like,
okay.
a beef burger with mushrooms. And I'm like, you didn't look? He's like, no. I'm like, okay. And that got a lot of
Right.
traction.
I dig the content that Charlie puts out. I think it's got the perfect mix
Yeah.
of all the different what's that line from The Simpsons? All the meats of the cultural stew of the hobby.
Yeah.
And like it's 1 minute it's wrestling, next minute it's just all this different shit. And
Yeah.
I posted something just because the picture was a crack up, and so I posted something about late night eBay, and I just had like the starring Tom Selleck as Magnum PI, and like I've done that. I've looked
Yes.
late at night on eBay, and you just see like there's Magnum PI bloody
Ooh.
cards. There's look at it,
Yes.
he's down,
Yep.
he's back.
I'm back
But yeah,
up.
all these different old TV shows and all this old stuff, and it just cracks me up. There's always something wild and wacky there that yeah, it's definitely an inspiration for me, like to just post just wild and different shit because it seems like people really dig it. They really enjoy it.
Yeah, the stuff people don't like will get drowned out, and the stuff people do like will go well. So it's I get so into Instagram for like a month, and I'm like, I'm gonna post every day. I'm gonna do stories. I'm gonna follow people, comment on people's stuff, and then for the next month, I'm like, what's Caleb McKeown up to? Oh, fair enough. And that's it. And that's the other thing I use Instagram for.
Yeah, yeah. Well, much like the bonsai trees or the Lego or anything else, it's like I'll go through a stage where I'll just share stuff because I think it's just fun to share other people's cool shit. Like that's the end of the thought. I just think it's great.
Yeah.
And so I'll share it. And then I'll think to myself,
Yep.
after I've sent about, I don't know, 10 entries on my story, I'll just go, yeah, they can't share that. They can't interact with it. So I've got to remember to tag them in it and actually maybe just say something. Say something, Hendo. Don't just share it.
Yeah.
Try and come up with something witty. We do need to try and get Punter on Instagram too, by the way.
Yes.
I don't know what to put on there, but we just want to tag him and shit. Probably just annoy him. That's really.
His follow list will look like Maggie's.
Well,
I don't know how it happens, but like you see a pretty girl on Instagram, like, oh, where's she from? And it's always followed by JohnOS.14. Every single one.
Can't lie.
Like
I've seen it.
Like every single one. Like, oh, who's this model that was on, Instagram for being famous sort of thing, and it's like followed by John OS. And it's like he's remarkable.
I've seen it. It's running at about a 95% hit rate. I would say it's not by accident. There's a strategy there.
100%.
That's good. That is good. All right, let me go to the run sheet. It always gets to this stage in the show, and I've just got to peruse the run sheet just to see where I'm at and what else I've got on my little list here. I did want to touch on really quickly, just not about the Carlton Football Club as an actual football club, but just give a shout out. I'm sure he's actually watching right now, but Eddie Betts played his 350th and final game of footy on the weekend. Now, we lost to GWS by 14, but no one really gives a shit. Our season was over anyway. But just an amazing man, an amazing career, incredible ambassador for the game, one of the best showmen you'll ever see, and someone who legitimately would put smiles on people's faces by playing the game of football. I'd feel dirty if I didn't at least just give the old salute and say well done to Eddie. Just an amazing effort, and not often in my Carlton following 43 years of life have I ever actively barracked for someone who left our club and went and played somewhere else. But I can hand on heart say that unless Adelaide were actually playing Carlton, I was always like happy to see Eddie do well. So yeah, it's a shame that the footy career is over, but I've got a feeling someone with that much charisma and that much that much energy for the game and for life and for people, and it's kind of similar to the hobby in a sense. The people that have just got that right kind of attitude about themselves. I'm looking forward to whatever he does next. Pretty cool in that regard. I'm not great with segues, but I'm going to claim this one as a segue. But your mob, in the finals, and
yes, no one said it was possible.
No, I didn't think it was possible. We're going to bring this up like we're Channel 7 here. I'll probably get taken off the air for using their bloody screen grab, but whatever. But this is the finals matchup. Now, we've got Adelaide Oval and UTAS Stadium. So the Tassie folks are up and about getting 2 finals games down there. They're going to go ballistic, and a lot of Essendon fans. So if anyone's thinking of a cheeky wager on what I've got to assume will be an underdog, I would be very, very tempted, depending on the price, to put a couple of pretty dollars on Essendon to get up over the doggies. So sorry, Cody. Sorry, Peter Lee. So your mob, though, Blake, are playing against the old, I'm going to call them punters mob, GWS. What do you think? How's the confidence levels sitting?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's the rubber match for a derby of 3 games not played in Sydney. The Battle of the Bridge played in 3 places without a bridge, sort of thing. So I don't know. It's Buddy's in good form. Like a lot of the forward ones in good form.
How good was he this weekend? My God, he looked like he was 10 years younger.
Absolutely, tackling, running, upfield.
He was up and about.
And I think he wants 1,000 this year. But yeah,
I thought he was going to go for 13.
I think. Yeah, same. I think UTAS is a good neutral ground. It's not like what's the other ground called?
The other Blundstone, I think. Blundstone Arena.
That's it, and which is just so blustery and windy.
They were talking about that tonight with the windy conditions, and they were just saying that UTAS is a bit of a different type of ground, a little bit more of a neutral like have at it kind of ground as opposed to the Hobart one, which is
True
very
test of
blustery.
skill.
Yeah, feats of
Yeah, we
strength.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It should be good. I think Essendon will beat the Bulldogs. I think Port and Geelong is such a strong bracket, and I would be like, as a Swan supporter, I'm scared to even win because whoever you take on next is so strong. And if Geelong somehow manage to get that home game, like despite Sydney being so good at Old Goomba Stadium, it's still a scary matchup. I would much rather be in Essendon's position right now.
Yep. Yeah, I think Melbourne proved a few doubters wrong this weekend, just in terms of, like, I saw the score as my antivirus tells me I have a gift ready. Thanks for that. No sponsorship from AVG, let me assure you. Yeah, so basically, I saw the progress score and saw they were getting absolutely throat punched by the Cats and thought to myself, yep, okay, Melbourne are pretenders.
Here's the
And
Melbourne.
then, in the space of whatever it was, about an hour later, and there's Big Maxi Gawn kicking the goal and yibbity, that's all, folks. It's like, well, okay, if they can come back from that kind of adversity, then maybe they are. So I don't know. It's you know, a tiny bit of a humble brag, but I actually did win my footy tipping comp that I was in this year on a score of 130. So I feel confident in picking who might win. But if I was like gun to my head, I would probably, the Port and Geelong one is really difficult for me. That's probably one of the hardest ones to pick because even though it's in Adelaide, I actually just don't trust Port Adelaide. It's not so much a thing like, oh, Geelong's up and about. It's more that they've got some veterans. They've got, they just sort of get shit done. And I don't actually trust Port Adelaide. But that, gun to my head, I'd take the favourite, Port Adelaide. I would definitely take Sydney over the Giants. Given that the game's in Adelaide, Brisbane and Melbourne would be another tough one too. I think gun to my head, I would probably take Brisbane, and I'd take Essendon for an upset over the Doggies.
Yeah,
that would be mine.
I just think the loser of Melbourne Brisbane is potentially out in straight sets, and I hope the loser of Port Geelong is out in straight sets. I don't know. I just feel like whichever team's coming, like I feel like the teams fighting from the bottom have such a strong shot this year. Like it's, like Essendon's in form at the right time, Sydney's in form at the right time. Bulldogs are falling out of form, but could use it as like a step back in. It's going to be interesting to see how these teams handle a loss and then have to play next week for their season sort of thing. But Geelong's so scary.
Geelong's always scary. I think the level of respect every fan base of all the different teams have for Geelong, it kind of is a testament to that. Brisbane, I actually felt like Brisbane, and I see Jack's in the chat, so g'day, Jack. I thought once old mate went down with the injury, I thought to myself, that's it. They're going to struggle because they don't have the big fella in the forward line, and they seem to be travelling all right the way they are. So, did Melbourne? I don't know. They're just like, did they let the air out of the balloon after such a amazing win this week? Can they back it up? I don't know. It's a weird one. I've got some very good friends of mine that are Melbourne supporters, and I'm kind of hoping they get up.
Yeah, well, I know what Melbourne supporters have been through, and is it bad that I just expect them to shit the bed again? Like, I just okay, it wasn't last week, it'll be this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. They expect
even like, I don't know, for me, I don't know why, I just see Melbourne, Brisbane, it's the weaker side of the bracket. I think that Port and Geelong are the two real scary ones. And I don't know why. There's no logic behind it. I just am waiting for Melbourne to STB.
We're conditioned by the system.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that's it. But yeah,
I was
I'd
gonna
like to see
give
Sydney get up, obviously.
I was gonna give Maggie a shout out for uh getting my getting the name right for me in Hipwood. But now he's asked me if I
Yes.
have any balloons, and I'm very confused by that. I do not have any balloons, but thank you for pointing out Eric Hipwood's name for me.
You did say Melbourne let the air out of the balloon, and so I feel like
Oh, is that what it was? Okay. All right.
I believe.
In that case, I forgive. I forgive. Someone did say before, though,
back on
Essendon might set up a rematch with old mate Danaher. So there you go. There's another storyline for us.
Take him out. There's a lot. There's a lot going in. Bloody Buddy's 1000th. Melbourne, Essendon not winning a final. Bulldogs repeating the dream run. GWS might finally not shit the bed. I feel like every team has a story leading into it, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. It's going to be a fun final series. I think you can look at it and go, well, if someone can get hot at the right time, you could very much see someone come from the second four and actually win it, like the Doggies did in 2016. So yeah, it'll be fun. Just one thing, what is Buddy on now? Because I know he got 4-ish.
I think he got
on
6.
the weekend.
So I think it's.
I got 6.
I think it's 8 left.
Right. Doable if they go for a run.
Well, that's it. Just a matter of putting together a couple goals.
He was on.
3
He was
in
on
each
massive
game
on the weekend.
Yeah, and he still gave a few up. If I'm Buddy Franklin right now, I suppose he almost wouldn't be disappointed if it waited until next year. Surely by next year we've got this 992. So 8 left.
Right.
All right.
If they win the first final, and Buddy kicks, say, I don't know, 3 or 4. Jesus, that puts a lot of pressure on whoever they play next. That'll be the loser of Port and Geelong, won't it?
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, so it's the scary game that I'm afraid of. But I don't know. Iron sharpens iron, so fingers crossed they just get across the line, sort of thing. My NRL team's not even worth talking about.
Yeah, well, see, I only start talking about the NRL when the Melbourne Storm are in grand finals because I'm that wanker from Melbourne that doesn't actually know anything about NRL. So it always shits people off when, especially for work, I spend a lot of time in Sydney and, you talk to customers and you're like, oh, so what's going on in the footy? And they're like, oh, Cronulla had a tough week. And I'm like, oh, that footy. Okay. Yeah, the Storm. We're awesome. But it's such bullshit because I actually am still learning the game, so I can't gloat too much. But it's it's a classic. All right, so I'm thinking we might wrap up pretty soon, but I wanted to just show off 1 or 2 more little things on the screen here. First of all, Mr. Rainblaker.
Oh yes, I haven't posted in a very long time.
That's all right. It's the place to be though. If 1,317 paid customers can't be wrong. It's going to be a fair bit of Bentley. But if you want to see more of Bentley, then it's Bentley's Outpost. You know where to go. Or Neil, or Canny,
and
whoever the algorithm says that you should follow.
Yeah.
But the little fella's getting about.
And buy a baseline drunk shirt.
Yeah, buy a baseline drunk shirt. We've got a bit going on here with Bobby Boucher and Wilt Chamberlain. We try to keep it, if I can keep it as 50% as entertaining, actually, I'll take that back. If I can keep my shit about 25% as entertaining as Charlie does, I'll be feeling really good about myself. Might run without getting ahead of myself, I might run like a 500 follower giveaway like Dan Howard. He's crushing the giveaways and seems to get a lot of attention. So I'll
absolutely.
I might look at something like that. But finally, thank you for the reminder. The guys at Tea Tree. Rob might still be in. Oh, Rob is there still in the chat. He makes Bobby jerseys. Well, there you go. Bobby Boucher. You never know. Ask Rob. Rob's an absolute legend of a bloke and has a great thing going with Tea Tree. Blake, I'm going to share some of this detail with you, not on the show, but offline. You never know, that might come in handy for you guys. I know
100%.
I know Dale got a couple of prototypes made up, but you never know.
Yes.
We might be able to help you out. But yeah, I even made, shows you how technologically advanced I now am. It's what is it, 9 months, 8 months after the 24-hour stream. And look at the ticker on the bottom of that screen. Everyone get involved.
Ooh.
All merch proceeds to help Food Bank Vic. Yeah, obviously with everything going on at the moment, it's pretty stressful for a lot of people out there. So without getting, I know we're pretty lighthearted and everything and taking the piss, but yeah, it's pretty important. So there's a portion of every single garment that gets sold goes to Food Bank. So it's something that I'm pretty keen on. I haven't put my order in yet, so I should probably do that before I start gassing everyone else up to buy something. But there's a whole heap of different stuff here. Like I said before, the college tees that seem to be the most popular at the moment. So thanks to Rob for the design. Bit of a legend there. But yeah, head on over to the website. It'll redirect you.
I told everyone to buy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, nice. It's it redirects you over to the Tea Tree. They'll take the order and everything because I can't be trusted, and they do a fantastic job. So that was all I wanted to cover off. I can finish up. I don't know if Maggie's still here, but we'll keep the old Maggie as a stinker on the screen because that's always a good way to finish the show. But yeah, look, thanks, mate, heaps for coming on. I know
that's all right.
You spend a lot of time in front of the camera, mate, and we're all very appreciative of that. But yeah, I'm super appreciative of you spending an hour and a half on a Sunday night with me.
Think of nothing more fun. It's been a really, really good night.
You're a good man. I very much appreciate it. And thanks to everyone in the chat for keeping the chat busy as always. It's always super fun to have. It's sometimes stressful when you see all the comments coming because you're trying to interact with everyone. So I don't know how you do it, Blake. You seem to be a bit of a genius at that, but I'm still learning. But yeah, it's super cool. So thank you, everyone else. Thank you, Blake. Thank you, Bentley. Very much appreciate your time. And we'll catch everyone next Sunday night. Take it easy, everyone.
Yes. And who's on next week?
Who's on next week? Oh, you make it sound like I know a week in advance who's going to be on. So we'll probably figure that out after I get all the things posted for this show, and then we'll go from there.
Excellent.
We'll do some promos. We'll be good to go. All right, crew. Take it easy. We'll talk soon.